ladies and gentlemen, join me as we welcome Dr. Okhai upstage to come and give us his talk that is, please, welcome, Doc. Welcome, Doc. I just wanted to check, I wanted to give the title of the title of the topic, so I don't know. Oh, great, it's here. So his topic is titled Film and Broadcasting as a Competitive Commodity Within AFCFTA. Let the children of Africa play together.
Permit me to speak from the heart, and I can do that because I've been on this and I showed her since before my country ever joined the AFCFTA. I've been talking about it, prodded my president, and we've been on it. I saw the need a long time ago. And so permit me to just tell a little story before I get into what I want to talk about. In the animal kingdom, as we say, once upon a time, right? In the animal kingdom, animals were, suddenly there was something like an epidemic, and the animals were dying. And this was worrisome, and they decided to say they should go and see the gods and find out the reason why this was happening. And so on their way to see the gods, they would usually pass through, the path they would pass is in front of the goat's house. Now the goat was seated there, arms folded, legs crossed. And in Nigeria, traditionally, I don't know if you use chewing sticks for, as to brush your teeth. Yeah, do you do that? Traditionally, it was something we used to do before toothpaste came and all that. So sometimes, even as a habit, you just hold it in your mouth like that. So I'm building a mental picture of how the goat was in his house, legs crossed with that. And they say, hey guys, what's going on? Where are you guys going to? And they said, they're going to see the gods. What for? He said, oh, have you forgotten? We're going to see them about what's happening. He said, oh, great. So when you go, whatever you decide, please come back and tell me. And they said, fine. And so they left. And so when they got there, they consulted with the gods, and the gods said to them, well, for this to stop, it would require blood sacrifice. It means you must sacrifice one of you. And so they said, okay, fine. They suggested a chicken. The chicken, started shouting, said, no, no way. And okay, someone said the pig. The pig squealed and said, no, no, protested vehemently. And then someone said, the goat. I said, okay, they all agreed, the goat. And so they came back. On their way, of course, remember, that's the path they will take. And so the goat made, you guys are back? Yes. So how did it go? Great. So is there a solution now? Yes. So what's the solution? And then they said, well, it requires blood sacrifice. We'd have to sacrifice one of us. Oh, great, beautiful. And so who would the sacrifice be? And they said, you. And he said, no, me, why? You should. He said, you should have been there to speak for yourself. We need a voice in the room. That was my message to my president when he was slacking and dragging his feet. It's important to be in every room where decisions are being taken, whether you like it or yes. There is no option. I'm not saying or not. Whether you like it or yes, you need to have a voice in the room so that when decisions are taken, your opinion will count for something. At least you would have been able to speak. Concerning the AFCFTA, sorry, permit me to recognize protocols already existing. I didn't do that. I recognize your presence, please. Thank you. I mean, I've looked at us as Africans and I said, who did this to us? A country like Cameroon, for instance, is divided not along even its local ethnic, but by being Francophone and Anglophone. And you are sworn enemies only because of a foreign language. It's terrible. who did this to us. Now, I was at another forum like this in Ghana sometime, I think it was last year or so. And I was talking to the Ghanaians. I said to them, we had a robust cooperation, and I want Yolanda to listen to this, and David as well. Sorry, I have to draw your attention to this. When we talk about co-productions, the best example, there are people in management school here, when you talk about synergy, with synergy, 1 + 1 can equal to 100. And if there are politicians here, you would know what I mean. If you come from 2 different tribes, no, let me explain. I ran for Nigeria's presidency against Buhari 2019. And so I'm in a position to say something. In politics, if you are appealing to the masses, unless there is a strong movement, you may not win. What it takes to win is to win the heart of one person who has 1 million people behind him, for instance, and another person who can influence maybe 4 million people. So you only need the power of 2 to get 5 million. True or true? Huh? Am I making sense? So you don't waste your energy going to talk to everybody. Talk to the person who has the heart of every other person. Now, Nigerians started making movies across the border with Ghanaians and all that. And within a short time, Ghanaian stars were all over the place. Majid, so many of them. And then the Ghanaians suddenly became very smart and said, these Nigerians they suddenly felt they were the ones doing Nigerians a favor. And then they suddenly blocked the way and said, don't come again, we don't need you, blah, blah, blah. No problem. Today, I don't know who remembers their stars. Let me tell you what is unique about Nigeria. We have over 300 languages. When you were talking about 11, I was wondering, I said, come to Nigeria. And I'm not talking about dialects. If we're talking about dialects, we're talking about 500. I'm talking about unique, completely different. You don't hear what the next person is saying. We have over 220 million people. That's almost 10 times. Lagos alone is almost 10 times, permit me, the size of Botswana. Botswana is about 2.5 million, right? Lagos is about 23 million. Now, what is unique about all this? We have 36 states. What's unique about this is that with all of these languages could have been individual nations. But because we are one country, in spite of our differences and everything, there are no custom barriers. Right? No immigration barriers, which means, and I'm going to take this out. I just want to use Nigeria as a case study, as an example. Those barriers are not there, which means you can be in one little village somewhere in, let's say, Sokoto, and you produce your goods, and you are sure that you have, without any immigration or custom barriers, a market of about 200 people ready. Isn't that attractive? Now, ECOWAS had treaties that were supposed to open the borders, but our neighbors were nervous that Nigerians will take over. I want to throw a question. Permit me, like I said, I want to speak from my heart. I want us to see these things practically. It's okay to throw statistics, but right now, I can't impress you anymore. They've done it all, so there's nothing for me to say. So now, this is a huge market. But Nigeria is almost half of ECOWAS, or maybe even more than half. They didn't see the potential there. What they felt was, oh, you were going to take over their market. Now, I want to say something to us. If I were to live, if I were South African, or let me use Zimbabwe, because I know that Zimbabwe and South Africa, they are sometimes like this. Let me know if Nigerians and South Africans. If I were to go to, let's say as a Nigerian, if I was to go to South Africa, I go there. I probably go just a small bag, 2 shirts, a trouser, 2 shirts and a trouser. And within a short time, I set up business and I start employing people. Obviously, it might draw some envy. But the truth is this: if I build any house there, when I'm leaving, am I taking the house away? Is it possible? I need proper answers. Speak like you believe me, like you know what I'm saying. Am I going to carry that house away? I'm not. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not taking the house anywhere. I've beautified that environment. Probably added value to the land in that area. So if more people come and do that, there is a tribe in Nigeria, you know them here, you know them everywhere, the Igbos. Give them the worst of places, they don't mind. All they need is a place to stand and they'll conquer the world, they'll move the world. Even in Nigeria, they suffer the same fate as they suffer elsewhere. They'll give them marshy land and all that, they will conquer the land and make it so valuable, and it becomes a problem unto them. But you know the interesting thing is, everywhere they go, Abuja and the real estate in Abuja, most of it was developed by these people. The hotels and all that. They just want to do commerce, just make their money. That's all. They don't care. Their place is not as developed. They just want wherever there are opportunities and they can make money. But what people don't seem to realize is that when they get into your environment, they give it value. They enhance the value of this place. I want to go into the Bible. Permit me, it's one of my best management books. A man like Solomon, we hear he's wise. He was the wisest, or he was very wise, and that he was also the richest in his time. Is that correct? That's what we're told. Let me go into strategy now and tell you a secret why. Go back to your Bible. Solomon married princesses of all the kingdoms around him. It was also said that he never fought a single war. Are you aware? He did not fight a single war. Would you fight your in-laws? Would those people come and fight their daughters? Would they fight their in-law? They wouldn't. And that also boosted tourism because they were coming to visit their daughters. Call it what you will, but I'm just trying to point out somewhere. They were coming there to visit their daughter. And from the example we saw of the Queen of Sheba, they were not coming empty-handed. When royalty comes to visit, they come with money and they spend money. So it was not difficult for Solomon to be the richest man in his time and to also have peace in his time. And so, if David, Nigerians come and marry South African girls, it means we will not fight you. We will not fight our in-laws. There are so many benefits. It may be laughable, but I'm saying serious things in a way that looks like you understand what I'm saying. There's something we need to realize. That as Africans, and I like the fact that Yolanda brought this up, this issue of IP. If you notice right now, I'll come back to that, but let me just say something. On the continent, we are beginning to think about regional groupings. Is that not so? And very soon, as we open up the borders, these regional groupings will almost be like one country. The European Union understand that for them to be able to compete effectively, or to compete with the US, they must remove all borders, have one currency, so that there are no barriers, so that European Union will be like Nigeria. Did you hear what I said? No custom barriers, no immigration barriers. What does that do? Free movement of trade, goods, services within the region. And the EU is stronger for it today, which is why they can take a decision against a Microsoft, for instance, and it will stand, because they're united. I'm sorry to say, we have a sleeping AU. In fact, I'm not sorry to say. We have an AU that needs to wake up. They have failed the young people of Africa. Because they are people by old men who don't know what the time is saying. The young ones are ready to run, but these people have blocked the way because they cannot see beyond their noses. There's a need for us as Africans to come together. Something, I was talking about this issue of IP. Look at what we've been able to do with music, Afrobeat in Nigeria. Now, with film, the same thing. Guess what? When the whites came here, they took all our masks and all the artifacts and left with them. The new artifact they're taking away are our IPs. Those commissionings Yolanda was talking about by Netflix and the rest, we don't own them. They pay the best to get the best and keep it. The only money you get is what you're paid. We cannot negotiate because we're not united. I sit as the head of the Directors Guild of Nigeria, but also recently all the guilds have decided to come together under one umbrella, all the various presidents. I'm also the chair of that body. And the reason we decided to do that was because before now they would come and say, oh, who do we speak to? You are not together. You are not, we don't know who to talk to. And so that divide and rule. And so because there is no one to talk to, they isolate us, bring you into a corner and make you look privileged. And then what they give you seems like much, but it's really peanuts. You can't even negotiate because you're one man and you feel privileged. And you feel if you don't take it, they'll go elsewhere. That poverty mentality. So we're trying to fight that by speaking with one voice. Now there's a need for us as Africans to stop these unnecessary suspicions that we have of one another. If I go to Zimbabwe or Botswana or Ghana and I make an investment there, is on the continent. It's here. And I can assure you that if Africa as a continent is united and we speak with one voice, the greatest wealth on earth today is under the earth of Africa, under our soil. Am I correct? I don't know if you have heard, but Niger, by 2024, Niger and Burkina Faso are going to be among some of the top 10 fastest growing economies in the world from next year. Have you heard? Why? Because they've taken ownership. Niger has taken ownership of its uranium. I wish GRC would do the same and stop the war. But of course, it's not in the interest of everyone to stop the war. For as long as we keep fighting each other, they'll come. It's happening even in Nigeria, where the bandits are right now. That's where the gold reserve is, in Nigeria. So the militants are there, they're being financed. And the NGOs are there as well. Why are they there? I'm going to speak some hard truth to power today. I want to talk to us as Africans and as Nigerians, as Africans. Wherever there's war, go and look again. And where you see all those NGOs rushing to, check again, find out why. What's the interest? There's a need for us to open up, and going back to the Ghanaian example, understand the power of synergy. How many people are in Ghana? When they were doing what they were doing in Nigeria, they had not just that market in Nigeria, but the global market that Nigeria had already opened. Right now, many of their stars are sneaking to come back to Nigeria to work. We're not stopping them. We're allowing them. But we want to be more intentional. We can do the same with Botswana. Someone used the word hustlers. We're great hustlers. We are the original hustlers, Nigerians. Hate us or leave us. I won't even say like us. But there's something about it, and it's positive. I also want to say, and I want to speak to us individually. I'm not in a position to do that. But for South Africa, with all that it has, please, there's a neglected area. It's all well to look at all the polished movies and all that. It's just for prestige. There are hundreds of thousands of young, talented black people who need a break, who need an opportunity. They don't have to have much. I'll tell you again about the Nigerian example. There are various tiers of filmmakers. I would always say, not every film needs to go to Netflix. Not every film must go to cinemas. What Nollywood has been able to do is provide jobs for hundreds of thousands of young people. The reason we have not imploded yet is that these people are busy. Did you hear what I said? With all that is happening in Nigeria, it's because the young people are busy. They are kept busy. Instead of shooting on the streets, they are shooting on screen. Okay? They don't have to make too much money. And there's a neglected area. Sorry, my time's... Did you give me a signal? Oh, I saw this. You know, I was thinking... Just let me know, please, when it's like 5 minutes to, and I'll shut up. Okay? Now, YouTube, for instance. How many of you know Emanuela here, Markangel? Put your hands up. Really put your hands up. Let me see. So you're not Nigerians, but majority here know. I'm sure the VC knows, but he's pretending that he doesn't. Have you not watched Markangel before, Emanuela? If not. Or you don't. If we show you, you will remember. I promise you. Now, if you see what they do, don't get me wrong. I'm a purist, but I'm also a realist in film. You look at that and say, well, these kids, what are these people doing? I conducted a research and presented a paper sometime. That conference was backed by UNESCO. This was in Cameroon. Some 2-3 years ago or so. And in my investigation, I found out that this guy makes, or was making at the time, between $380 and $420,000 monthly. Prof, I don't know if you make that much money monthly. Do you? But if you see them, you say, that guy is buying up properties everywhere. Now he owns a construction company. But he's getting sillier and sillier in his videos because he knows that's what's paying the bills. That is a niche. That's a market. Not everyone needs to go to cinemas. Now let me come to the, as we say in Nigeria, the cocoa, the meat of my talk today. See, our greatest resource is our youth. And for the creative industry, that's where you have the lowest entry barrier and the fastest growth opportunities. Does anybody here disagree? Huh? You don't even have to study theater arts or film to be an actor. In fact, we are acting every day. You just need the right camera in front of you. Am I right? And you blow, as we say in Nigeria, you blow up. And so the opportunities are there. And I'd like to say to people, you do not need to do that. And that's what we need to inculcate into our young people, our youth. Many unemployed people, this is all that they need. With this, and I want the filmmakers in the hall to contradict me, you can write, you can shoot, you can edit, you can grade, you can distribute, you can add your music here, and you can distribute, and you can collect your money without going out of the phone. David, am I right or am I right? Huh? Correct. Yolanda, please tell me I'm wrong. I'm correct. So, this is all they need. That's all. That's all. It doesn't have to be perfect. You know what perfection does? Many of us are not making money because of analysis paralysis. You're waiting for things to be perfect. You overanalyze the situation. And so procrastination comes in and you never do it. Nothing ever gets done. There's a need to shift from trying to be like the Joneses. Look at where you are. Look at your strength. The creative sector is our biggest strength. That is something that we can do without any, and you have a global market because of the convergence of media on this platform. Everything is here now, radio, TV, SABC is here. Is it not? Or maybe they are not yet here. You are there. So it's on the palm top. Wherever there's internet, you can access. So which means that you can do what you do in your little village and people will see it all over the world. Let's empower the young people of Africa. Let's take away all the barriers. Let's remove all the suspicions. Let's embrace each other. That's how we were. The trans-Saharan trade in those days didn't have any of these barriers. People would leave Kano. There are many Nigerians in Sudan today who they just went there and decided to settle. Some on their way to Mecca, some trading, and I'm sure it's not too different from here as well. Africa is one big nation. If only the politicians will let us breathe and let us be. They are our biggest problems. Don't worry, I'll shut up. But if there's any point to be made, it is the fact that this is an idea whose time is long overdue. I don't want to talk about what we've been going through. You would have heard everything about how the barriers should be opened up. But I want to say, watch out for the nations that have taken, that are, if you like, call them, as you would say, early adopters of technology. But early adopters, Kenya, Rwanda, that have opened up. Rwanda opened up. Did you hear that all the Nigerians are in Rwanda? Of course not. Have we invaded that place? Are they having problem of Nigerians there? No. No. People will go to where they would naturally go to. Nothing stops them. They will cross the rivers and go to wherever they want to go to. If we open up, it will be like Nigeria, one huge market. Okay? Now I'm rounding up now, don't worry. It will be like Nigeria, one huge market. Imagine a country of so many, over 300 languages. No custom barriers, no immigration barriers. It's the reason our music can get popular first at home, because we are accepted at home, we are accepted globally. It's the reason our movies, as bad as it may have appeared when they started, now I will say to you, go to Netflix and you can judge whether we can make films or not. I don't want to say too much. This is just food for thought. I just want to rest my case and say thank you very much.